गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So grateful to each and every one of you for coming for this special program. The title for today's talk is The Rope of Hope, and all of us are looking out for this, yes? Some days back I found out amongst the fish, there are two types of fish. One is the freshwater fish, stays in rivers, ponds, lakes, and then there is salty water fish. They stay in the seas, the oceans, and like that. So same species, aquatics, fish, and they breathe through the water, and the environment is also the same. Just one difference between the fresh water and the ocean water. What is that? Salt. Everything else is the same. But just because of this one small constituent of the ocean water, do you know that the freshwater fish, if you put in the ocean, it won't survive. And the ocean water fish, if you put into fresh water, it won't survive. So the species is the same, the environment is the same, everything else is the same. One small substance called salt can mean death. In the Gita, 15th chapter, Lord Krishna mentions, actually there is not much difference between the spiritual world and the material world. Whatever exists in the spiritual world also exists in the material world. Emotions, relationships, love, service, everything that exists in the material world also exists in the spiritual world. And what is the difference? There's only one difference. Everything in the spiritual world is centered around pleasing Krishna, pleasing God. And everything in the material world is centered around pleasing oneself. And just because of this one small difference, what have we landed ourselves into? All of us were there in the spiritual world, in a happy world. So everything there is here, only the purpose is different. And because of that, there is also one more difference. That in the spiritual world, everything is permanent. And in the material world, everything is temporary. And where do we belong to? Originally, we belong to the spiritual world. So imagine somebody who is inherently permanent. In Sanskrit, the word is Shashvat. We are permanent. We are not supposed to die. And here we are in the material world where everything is temporary. So what will happen when a freshwater fish is put into the ocean water? It will struggle. So We announce this topic of the rope of hope, but hope is important for those who are struggling. If there is no struggle, where is the question of hope? So why is this topic important? Because different kinds of struggle are going on, and what is the source of that struggle? The source of that struggle is actually inherently I am permanent. But right now I am in a temporary world. So it's a mismatch. How many of us want our happiness to be permanent? Yes. We want our relationships to be permanent. We want our jobs to be permanent. But the reality of this world is the jobs are not permanent, relationships are not permanent, happiness is not permanent. Why? That's the nature of this world. The salt of pain, the salt of temporariness is there in this world. And we belong to the spiritual world. Freshwater fish. No salt. Jab jalta hai, when you put salt there, it burns more, right? So this is this world. In one of the purports, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, one of our acharyas, he says, actually this material world is like a salt mine. In a coal mine, what will be there? Everywhere, coal. So salt mine means salt. And in that salt mine, if you have a small scratch, if you have a small cut, and a little bit of salt happens to fall there, what happens to that wound? Anybody experienced? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, the characteristic of this material world is it's like a salt mine. If you get a small little cut and you touch here, but it's a salt mine. So everywhere there is salt, and that's why if somebody speaks a little bit angrily towards us, if somebody speaks insultingly, just a little bit to us, it hurts very much. You know why? It's all salt, salt, salt. So I'm comparing the jiva to the freshwater fish. And we thought, that's also water, this is also water. There are also plants there, here also plants there, that is also flowing, this is also flowing. There's one small difference, salt. And so, here we are in the material world, completely unable to understand why is my happiness temporary when I want my relationships to be permanent, why they are not permanent. So that's where all the struggle comes from. Any heroes that any one of us has, they could be historical heroes from the history of India, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, Rana Pratap. Essentially, what is the quality of their life? They wanted to do something good, but this world did not allow them to do good. But grit, determination, and they did. Right? So, in a very simple way, if somebody wants to become a hero, this quality should be there. What is that? The ability to struggle against reversals, the ability to struggle against the odds. Yes. Western world, today what is the most famous book amongst youngsters and kids? Harry Potter. So what is the essential quality of Harry Potter? Innocent. He's innocent. And there are everything going wrong. His family, his mother and father are untraceable. And then there are other people in the school where he's staying. They're always conspiring against him. But what is his quality? His quality is he's struggling. Is going on, right? So whether it is real life historical heroes or whether it is fictional heroes like Harry Potter or even He-Man, Superman, Batman, whatever, Catman. There are so many mans there. Other than Hanuman. Hanuman is not fictional, he is real. So whether it is Hanuman, Superman, Batman, whatever, or whether it is Harry Potter, whether it is real life heroes, one thing about that hero, any hero, that attracts our hearts is, see, he didn't give up. He continued struggling. So struggle is something that is inherently there because we are permanent and right now we are in a temporary world. And because we ourselves are struggling in our own lives, whenever we come across a story, whether it is a fictional story or whether it is a real life story of somebody struggling, if somebody gives up, they don't impress us. We are not impressed by people who give up. We are impressed by people who are struggling to go through. Is it not? So, we are discussing what will help you and me continue through our struggles. What is that hope that can allow us to go through our struggles? In our life also there are struggles, and we also want to go through the struggles. So what is it that will help us? We are going to discuss this. Yeah? Sometimes in life there are two kinds of pains. One pain comes when you can identify the source of your distress. Why am I unhappy in my life today? It is because of him. He complained to somebody about me, whatever, right? Somebody cheated me. I know who cheated me. And I know where he stays. But I can't do much about it. But at least the good thing is, the source of my pain, the source of my distress, the source of my happiness, unhappiness, I can point out. This is a big pain, right? But greater than this pain is another pain. That is the pain that one undergoes when you cannot identify the source of your distress. So somebody messed up. There's something totally wrong going on in life. Maybe there is some disease, some financial issue, some health issue, right? Or you had a very nice relationship with your brother, with your sister, with a nice friend, and one day all of a sudden that friendship broke. And you're wondering, what happened? And you call up that friend and say, at least tell me the reason why this friendship is not working. And he said, I don't even want to talk to you. And you are saying, can I just deserve one sentence reply, why? And that person says, I don't even want to talk to you, and keeps the phone down. You are wondering, what happened? You are not able to trace the reason. Was it something I spoke? Was it something I did? Was it somebody else is trying to sabotage the relationship, right? So there is some pain when you are able to identify the source of that distress. But there is greater pain when you are not able to identify the source of your distress. So we'll consider these two cases. When you are able to identify the source of your distress, usually the response is revenge. He caused pain in my life. She caused pain in my life. Now just see how I will pay back. Revenge. Is it not? If you see the Bhagavad Gita, we are here in Radha Krishna, Radha Gopinath temple. So we'll take a reference of the Gita. In one sense, lot of injustice has happened against the Pandavas. And who did it? It's clear. It's happening right in front only. Duryodhan, Dushasan, they are right there. It's not happening indirectly. So there's so much injustice happening in the Pandavas' life. And we come to the Mahabharata war. And the two armies are in front of each other. And what does Arjun say? Arjun says, I am not going to fight. I don't feel like fighting. And Krishna is saying, no, you must fight. What are the reasons that Krishna gives to Arjun that you should fight this war? Anybody knows any reasons which Krishna tells Arjun, you should fight this war? Yes. 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 So he is saying, you have to fight keeping the whole world in mind. It's not just a family matter. It's not a fratricidal war. It's not a brother against brother war. It is a principle-based war. So this is the right answer, right? Now, very interestingly, you think, forget the Pandavas and the Kauravas. You think of one person in whose life his brothers, cousin brothers, have done tremendous injustice. They have cheated them, looted them, tried to burn them, and so on. And after that, that person is telling you, you are that person's friend, is saying, yeah, they cheated me, they looted me, they tried to burn me alive and all that, but I want to let go. I don't want to do anything about it. What will be your typical reply? Typical reply. Not an Ekadashi reply. What will be your typical reply? Yeah. Typical reply will be, see, that person has done so many wrong things to you. That person has cheated you, that person has looted you, that person has tried to burn you. How can you not fight? You have to fight. You have to give tit for tat, right? So we may not teach a person to harm somebody proactively, but we will teach a person to do justice, is it not? What is justice? Justice is basically paying back a person in the same language in which that person troubled you. That's justice, right? Basically, in other words, we will want revenge. We will push that person to take revenge. Oh, that person cheated you financially, don't let go. You should also cheat that person. That person bet you physically, you also should beat him, that person. Is it not? Now, very interestingly, as friends, we think that is right. If somebody has cheated somebody and that person is saying, no, I don't want to do anything, it's not right. So, what would Krishna be expected to guide Arjun in? We would expect that Krishna will also tell Arjun, see, in your childhood, they tried to poison Bhima. When your family members along with your mother were in that shellac house, they tried to burn you alive. Your wife, they tried to insult her. So this needs to be given justice to. You can't just run away. Now the most interesting thing about the Gita is the lowest level at which Krishna speaks as a reason to fight the war is not revenge. The lowest level which Krishna speaks to Arjun is because you are a Kshatriya. And the definition of Kshatriya is Kshata Trayate iti Kshatriya. If somebody is causing harm to a gentleman, a Kshatriya, roughly a policeman, should go there and prevent that harm. No gentleman should get harmed. This is the duty of a Kshata Trayate iti Kshatriya. So the first reason which Arjun says is, you are born in a family of Kshatriyas, it is your duty to fight because they are trying to cheat your family members. So your Swadharma is related to the body, your Swadharma is you should fight. Then he says, because you are a Kshatriya, you have never ever tolerated injustice. So your Swabhava is also that you need to fight against injustice. So on the level of the body, your Swadharma is you should fight. On the level of the mind, your Swabhava is that you should fight. And then towards the end of the Gita, he takes it at a much deeper level and he says, see, you are not even this body and you are not even this mind, you are a spirit soul. So because you are a spirit soul, your Swarupa is that you should obey the Supreme Lord and you should try to serve the Supreme Lord. What will a small part do in relationship to the machine? The small part will do its own job. It will try to serve the machine, is it not? So, all the living entities, wherever there is life, the spirit soul, what is the very fundamental duty of the spirit soul? To serve God. So, Krishna is saying your Swadharma is to fight, your Swabhava is to fight, and your Swarup is also to fight. At the bodily level you should fight, at the mental level you should fight, and at the soul level also, even if you are a spiritualist, you should fight. Now, all these three reasons have nothing to do with revenge. So if you see, the lowest level at which Krishna speaks is at the level of the body. Your Swadharma is that you should fight, is much higher than the feeling of revenge that we all would probably advise a friend against whom injustice has been done. So revenge is a very easy way to get things done. World War II, two prominent people in World War II. One is Winston Churchill. He was the Prime Minister of UK during the war. And the second one was the Führer of Germany, Adolf Hitler. Essentially, these two people played pivotal roles in World War II. How did Adolf Hitler rally his troops? How did he encourage the whole Germany? Basically with his speech. And the whole point of Adolf Hitler's presentation to his own country was, in World War I, they had signed a treaty, the Treaty of Versailles. And in that, he put forward an image, he put forward a whole narrative that Germany was insulted heavily in World War I, and we should not stay there like that, and we need to take revenge. He played the revenge card. And usually, ordinary people, simple people, if you convince them that there has been a lot of injustice against you, and I will teach you how to get revenge, a normal person feels, yes, मेरे साथ अन्याय हुआ है, मुझे न्याय चाहिए. Is it not? It's a very basic human need. Adolf Hitler used that feeling, and with his whole power of speech, the way he would speak, he basically aroused the whole nation to take revenge. And what about Winston Churchill? Winston Churchill, he has given 3 famous speeches in 1940. One of them is, the title of that speech is, "We will fight on the beaches." In that speech, he mentions how England is a land of honor and there is no way that we will ever surrender to Germany and we have to fight. And he also basically painted a picture that we are very superior people and no way we want peace. If peace comes at the cost of compromise, we don't want a compromise, don't want peace, we will snatch victory from the hands of the Germans. So basically, Winston Churchill and Adolf Hitler both played the revenge card. They both created feelings of revenge. And that's what happened in World War II, tremendous destruction. How did the World War II come to a halt? Anybody knows? There's a lot of destruction going on both ways. How did it come to a halt? It came to halt by the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. For the first time in the history of the world, 2 nuclear bombs were thrown on 2 cities. And even now, 100 years later, sometimes, those people who got exposed to radiation in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 3 generations later, 4 generations later, the children in those families are sometimes born deformed. Their limbs are like this. Why? Because the radiation 100 years back was that strong. Can you imagine the destruction that was caused? And this is why World War II stopped. Otherwise, it would have gone on. And what is the fuel for World War II to go on? What is the fuel for this mass destruction and mass violence to go on? Revenge. Now, if you count the number of deaths that happened in World War II, and if you count the number of deaths that happened in Mahabharat War, anybody knows the casualties in Mahabharat War? 64 crore people were killed in 18 days of Mahabharat War. If you look at the casualties, it's an enormous number. But think about it. The reason behind this enormous number of killing was not revenge. It was not brick for a brick. It was not eye for an eye. It was not stone for a stone. It is principle of protecting dharma. And this is a very important point for all of us to understand, that in our life, if any time somebody is doing something wrong to us, it's very natural for us to seek revenge. And usually what happens is, when we seek revenge, it's very difficult to keep a calculation of how much revenge is good revenge. Yes? It starts with small revenge. But revenge is revenge. And then what will happen? It will become uncontrolled revenge. So basically, why are we receiving some distress and some difficulties in our life? It's part of our karma. So the more we receive difficulties, it's basically what we were destined to get because of our past activities, right? And when you do revenge for something that is going wrong in your life, what are you doing? You are basically restarting the wheel of karma that is slowly coming to a halt. We all want our karma cycle to end, right? Whatever we have done, if we get it back, good, it's getting over. But because something went wrong and something is non-acceptable to you, you go into a revenge mode. And as I mentioned, revenge mode is like starting a racing bike or something. As soon as you start it, you understand the power of that bike, and then 100 kilometers per hour is very, very slow. Yes? Right? So revenge is also like that. As soon as you get into revenge mode, you don't know where to stop. Mostly, 99% of the cases, you will cross the limits of revenge. You'll cross the limits of violence. And that's why Krishna did not use the revenge card anywhere in the Gita. In fact, if you look at the shlokas in the first chapter, Arjun says that these are all atatayis. Atatayi is a very typical Sanskrit word. So if somebody burns your home, if somebody loots you, if somebody tries to poison you, if somebody insults your wife, if somebody snatches away your property, that a person is called atatayi. And Arjun uses this word atatayi in the first chapter of the Gita. But Krishna does not take it seriously, and Krishna says, you have to fight. You have to fight this war. You have to fight against this unlimited army of people, but not with a feeling of revenge. You have to keep your heart clean. So this was the first category where you can identify the source of your distress. And what is Krishna saying? Don't have revenge, but do the needful. If somebody is doing something wrong, he needs to be stopped, but not with a revenge mood, at a kartavya mood, at a dharma mood. The second category is when you feel much greater pain if you are unable to identify the source of your distress. At least here the Kauravas are there in front and you can find out, right? In such a case, what is usually the reaction of a person? Usually, if you are not able to identify the person, the source of your distress, you will go into a sulking mood. You will go into a lamentation mood. Oh, why is this happening with me? I don't know what is happening with me. Why is God doing this to me? So you sulk. Bura lagta hai na humko. What is Krishna's solution for that? So one of our Acharya, Srila Jeev Goswami, he gives a very nice understanding. He says, basically the first chapter of the Gita, Arjun was speaking, Krishna never spoke. When does Krishna start speaking? He starts speaking in 2.11. So the first instruction from Krishna starts in the second chapter, 11th shloka. And he says, "O Arjun, you are lamenting for something which is not worthy of lamenting. Ashochan anvashochastvam pradnyavadamscha bhashase." You are speaking like a big pandita. Gatasun agatasunscha nanu shochanti pandita. But a real learned man does not lament for the living or for the dead. This is the first shloka where Krishna starts speaking. And if you look at that, he's saying, don't lament. Don't sulk. Rote mat baitho yahan pe. And after that, he speaks the whole Gita. And then the last instructive verse of Krishna is 18.66. He speaks shlokas 18.67, 68, 69 till 72. But basically, the shlokas after 66 are not instructions. He glorifies the message of the Gita. And he says, who are worthy of receiving the message of the Gita. And he glorifies the preachers of the Gita. But the last instruction is 18.66. 18.66, again he says, Sarva dharman parityajya maam ekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksheshami. Last word is mahashuchaha. So that same word in 2.11, ashochan, shok mat kijiye. Nanu shochanti panditaha. A real pandit does not lament, does not cry. That same word Krishna uses in 18.66. So Srila Jeev Goswami, he says, the first instruction of Krishna is don't lament, don't cry, don't sulk. Oh, like that. And the last instruction of Krishna is also don't sulk, don't lament, don't keep crying. And so many times in the Gita, Krishna will say, get up and fight, get up and fight, get up and fight. So, one very interesting argument that Krishna gives in the second chapter, he says that we are the spirit soul, we are not the body, body keeps changing and all that, right? One of the arguments he gives, this is in 2.16 to 2.25, that is where he talks about the qualities of the soul. One of the arguments Krishna gives to Arjun is, let's say that there is no soul. Let's say there is nothing spirit and nothing like that. So what is this body? Then this body is a bag of chemicals. So what the modern scientists are saying, that argument Krishna only gives there. So he says this body, let's say, is a bag of chemicals. So if this is a bag of chemicals, and if somebody is killed, and that bag of chemicals is basically opened, right? So the chemicals are going. So what is there to lament? When you're shooting arrows, because Arjuna is saying, I don't want to fight with them. So one of the arguments Krishna gives, other than the Swadharma, Swabhava and Swarupa, is that it's an atheistic argument actually. And how can God give an atheistic argument? But he does. So he's given an atheistic. Even if you say there is no God, even if you say there is no spirit, what you are saying is matter matters. It's only matter that matters. Spirit does not matter. So this body is a bag of chemicals. And sometimes, if you're carrying a bag of salt, some chemical, right? NaCl, sodium chloride. And if some of that salt falls on the ground, do you start crying? Take a bag of chemicals, or a chemical niche gir gaya, no problem. So it's very interesting. Krishna wants Arjun to not cry. Krishna wants Arjun to not keep sulking. Krishna wants Arjun to not close the door, pull the curtain, switch off the light and cry. No. Krishna says, whatever has happened, get up and fight, get up and fight, get up and fight. And to what extent he's ready to give even an atheistic argument, but get up and fight. Yes? And 2.47, the most famous shloka of the Gita. कर्मणि एव अधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफले हेतुर्भुर्मा ते संगोस्तु अकर्मणि. So there are 4 arguments in this shloka, 2.47. The last part is mate sangostu akarmani. You cannot not do your duty. You cannot be silent. You cannot run away from the battlefield. And why cannot I run away? You are saying you should fight, but I am not the cause of the results of the action. And I should not even look forward to the results of my action. So why should I fight then? So Krishna gives a very simple reason. See, who started this whole fighting business? Who provoked? Who started the war? Was it the Pandavas or the Kauravas? Kauravas. So Krishna is saying they are the ones who started attacking you right from childhood days. And now you are saying, see, you know what? Let them do what they want to do. I want to be a saintly person, and you will run away. Who's stopping the war? Apparently, Pandavas. But who started the war? So actually, who should stop the war? But who is stopping the war? Will it work like that? You switch on this light and then you want to stop this light, but you switch off the button of that light. It does not make sense. So Krishna is saying, even if you want to stop this war, because you saying violence is not good, who is supposed to stop the war? They are supposed to stop the war. And why they are supposed to stop the war? Because they started the war. So they are attacking you since childhood and you want to stop the war. How will it work? So he's saying, get up and fight. So 2 reasons we saw why there can be pain in our life. One is we can identify the source of our pain, but that pain is smaller pain. And the second pain is when you are not able to identify the source of your pain, that is greater pain. When you can identify the source of your pain, there is a feeling of revenge. But Krishna does not agree to the feeling of revenge. And even if you say, I am not able to identify the source of my pain, I just want to sulk. मेरे को रोने से क्या problem है? मैं रोता हूँ ना, रोना कभी नहीं. You have to get up and fight. Why? Swadharma, Swabhav, and at a much higher level, Swarupa. Next, we come to the next section that we are talking of, the rope of hope, right? Now, sometimes we are traveling in a car, and when we are traveling at a very high speed, Bombay-Pune Expressway, something like that, have you seen that you can't actually look properly at the trees, or sometimes you're hungry, but then some restaurant passed by, but you didn't even notice it. Why? Because your speed is very high. So when the speed of your vehicle is very high, you can barely notice what shops, what restaurants are there on the side of the road. Yeah? You have to slow down your speed, right? Sometimes you're traveling and then you're hungry and say, "Arey, speed thoda kam karo, dekhne to kaun sa restaurant hai? You know, no onion, no garlic hai ki nahi kuch?" Right? So in our life also sometimes the speed of our life is so fast, we may not really understand what is happening around us. So, the rope of hope is always there in all of our lives. But sometimes we are so fast, we are running around, you have to lower the speed of your life to catch hold of the rope of hope. If you're constantly moving around, can you catch a rope? The rope is dangling, the rope is there from top, but to catch it, you have to slow down a little bit. So the first point we'll take is, the rope of hope is there, but many of us do not have the stability in our life. We are too much swayed by the emotions, sometimes positive emotions, sometimes negative emotions. And because we are constantly swaying, our hand is not able to catch. Yes, in a typical temple, there are bells. And can you ring the bell while running? You may be running, but when you want to ring the bell, you have to go there, you have to stop, you ring it, and then you run, right? When you are in motion, you cannot ring the bell. You'll miss the bell. Similarly, to catch the rope of hope, we have to have some lower speed in our life, and we have to lower the swinging of emotions that we undergo. Srimad Bhagavatam is a very radical book. Actually, all the examples that are given in Srimad Bhagavatam are very extreme examples, if you see from that perspective. So, one of the ways in which we can request people to have emotional stability is that it's not good to be too happy, it's not good to be too sad. That's what we would say, is it not? One of the ways in which Srimad Bhagavatam proposes, it's a radical solution, is that whenever you are receiving too much happiness and The Bhagavatam is saying stay stable, equipoised. Don't get too much affected by it. One of the ways in which Srimad Bhagavatam proposes is, think about it that you have a good bank account, a punya bank account, a happiness bank account. And if you have a happiness bank account and right now you're receiving a lot of happiness in your life, what is happening to the bank account? It's going. So when there is too much happiness in life and you are becoming too much affected by it, and you are flying in the clouds, and you want to become equipoised, one way to look at it is Srimad Bhagavatam is saying, think of it that your happiness bank account is going down. So if you just remember this, every time there is a flood of happiness in your life, the bank account of happiness that you have is slowly going down, you become sober. And vice versa. When there is too much distress in your life, when there is too much unhappiness in your life, everyone is insulting you, everyone is harming you, everyone is passing gossip, rumors about you and all that, and you're feeling, why is this happening with me? Remember this. Just like you have a happiness bank account, you also have an unhappiness bank account. It has a lot of numbers in it. It's Kali Yuga souls. And if there is a flood of unhappiness in your life, remember that unhappiness bank account is also going low. Now you feel good? So any other philosophy, I think, will take time to have its effect on us. But just remember this thing. So जब दुख आएगा तो ये सोच लेना कि मेरे अकाउंट में जितना भी है वो थोड़ा कम होते जा रहा है, you feel happy, okay, कम हो रहा है, good. And similarly, when there is too much happiness and people are asking you for, are you first आए, चलो party करो, चलो, then you say, wait, my happiness bank account is also going down. So what will happen if you actually remember these two sentences? You cannot be easily swayed here and there, is it not? Krishna starts speaking in 2.11 and in 2.14, just the fourth shloka, he says, Matra sparshastu kaunteya shita ushna sukha dukkhada. That learn to tolerate. And he specifically uses the word kaunteya. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. You know why kaunteya? He's saying your mother has tolerated so much in her life. You are the son of Kunti, you are kaunteya. You should also learn to tolerate. So, right there in 2.14, he says that learn to tolerate. And you know what is 2.15? 2.15, he says, if you learn to tolerate sukha dukkha, yam hi na vyathayante ete purusham purusharshava sama sukha dukkha dhiram so amrutatvaya kalpate. Right in 2.15, this is the fifth shloka where Krishna started speaking. He's saying, if somebody learns to tolerate the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, you can achieve amrutatva. Amrutatva means the spiritual world. So, can you imagine, as early as 2.15, Krishna has introduced the concept of liberation. And what is the way to liberation, Krishna says? The way to liberation is to not get affected by constant changes of happiness and distress. In the 6th chapter, in the early part, Krishna, I think 6th or 7th shloka of the 6th chapter, Krishna says, Jitatmanaha prashantasya paramatma samahita. In simple English it is Jitatmanaha, somebody who has conquered the mind. Prashantasya, somebody who is always still, somebody who is unmoved. He says, Paramatma samahita. He has contacted the Paramatma. Now in today's modern times, there will be many self-help gurus who can give you such shortcuts. Do you want to touch God? Do you want to reach God? Krishna is not a self-help guru. Krishna is talking about himself. Krishna is saying, one who has conquered the mind, one who has achieved stillness inside, has already reached the Paramatma. So what a inducement for us. That if we want to contact God, if we want to come close to God, we cannot be subjected to ever-changing emotions. One very nice way to contact God is to just have self-control over our emotions and not get swayed. How important it is. In the 2nd chapter, Krishna also says that Sukhe Dukhe Same Kritva Labha Labhau Jaya Jayo. Sukhe Dukhe Same Kritva. Don't get agitated by Sukha and Dukkha. Labha Alabha. Sometimes there is profit, sometimes there is loss. Sometimes there is victory, there is defeat. Jaya, Jayo. He says one should learn to be equipoised in all these situations. In 2.48, he says a very nice thing. He says, Siddhya asiddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. So samatva means equipoisedness, not getting affected. Krishna calls it in second chapter as yoga. Yoga is again contacting God, coming in connection with God. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Actually, yoga, another name for yoga, coming together with God, is samatva. So many of us, we have heard that one principle that is often repeated in the Gita is that we should selflessly serve Krishna. Pure devotional services, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, everywhere Krishna keeps repeating. The second most repeated principle in the Gita after pure devotional service is samatva, equanimity, equipoised. One time, there was one dhobi. This dhobi had a ass, donkey. He put him to use his whole life. Puri zindagi par use kaam karwaya. When he became old, then he's not really able to do work, but he needs food. And then selfish person, he didn't want to take care. So one day that ass, in search of food, he went into the forest. And there was a blind well. Means there's no water in it. So he's also old, that ass is old. He could not really understand much. He's also hungry, he's looking for food. Somehow or the other he fell into that well. And when you fall into a well, there is no water, there is no way you can come out. You're deep inside. So he started braying his usual noise. So now people who were around, they understood this donkey, अरे तो धोबी का donkey है, इसको निकालो बाहर. So the धोबी is saying, देखो anyway, काम का न काज का, दुश्मन अनाज का. He is not good, is no good. So let him stay there only. But all the people said, no, 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 how can you do like this? And he was also making that noise. And that noise was not really very a good noise, right? So all the people said, you have to take him out of the well. You can't do this injustice to him. So this dhobi said, okay, I'll solve this. He said, ठीक है, मैं कल निकालता हूँ. Then रात को क्या करने वाला था? He was going to pour soil. He was going to pour sand in that well and finish him off. So सुबह बोलेगा कि अरे मालूम नहीं कहाँ गए, तो दिख नहीं रहा अभी. He wanted to bury him alive. He didn't want to take him out. So at night, this as is thinking now how to come out, and there is nobody, at least in the daytime people were coming. So he started making that noise, and this person, he came with soil and he started pouring soil inside. Can you imagine if you have served a master your whole life, and just because you are old, he's already not feeding you, and because he's not feeding you, you are searching for food, and you went into the jungle and you fell down, and now people are also saying, but then he's not listening to you. It creates a lot of emotional challenge, right? Can you imagine what must be happening to the donkey when at night he's pouring soil on him with an intention of burying him alive? What must be happening to him? So for 5 minutes, he was the most pained creature on the planet. He was really, really in deep pain. But at one point of time, he thought, I have to catch the rope of hope. You know what he did? All that soil that was falling on his body, he shook it. And when it shook, that soil fell down. And in this way, whatever soil was falling on his back, if he remained still, then that soil will cover him. But he shook it and that soil fell down. So what would happen is, the level of the ground was rising. And in this way, he kept on making that noise. And Dhobi, he felt that, oh, I have not poured enough soil to kill him. And he kept on pouring soil. And just because he was undisturbed by that distress of being attempted to be killed by your own master with an ungrateful heart, just because he was able to tolerate that feeling, that soil kept on falling, he kept on brushing that soil, the ground level kept on rising, and he came to top, and when he came out, he kicked his master and ran away. There's another similar story. One time there was a milk pot, and in that milk pot, 2 frogs fell. One of the frogs fell, अभी तो इतने बड़े बर्तन में मैं गिर गया, अभी तो मरूंगा मैं. And he just accepted his destiny and he sulked and he died. He drowned. And the other frog said, no, I have to catch the rope of hope. So, their feet, they're like this web. There is a web here, and that's how they can jump. They can swim also. So he kept on paddling like this. He kept on moving his legs because he wanted to somehow survive. He wanted to give up. So in milk, if you churn milk, what will happen? Some butter, something will come up, right? There is some solids there in the milk. So because he was not ready to give up, and he kept on paddling, it had some small, tiny, miniature churning effect. And little bit solids, little bit butter, whatever you call it, cream of the milk, थोड़ा उधर form हो गया वो, little bit. And as soon as that formed, there was little solid substance on which he could stand. And then he paddled more, and then some more cream or some more butter formed there. In this way, there is some solid structure formed in the milk, and he kept his foot on that, and he jumped out, and he survived. And he told me this story. So it's not that only human beings, Why am I speaking this? Because, today's situation, teens, they're turbulent times. The age at which we are in, it's not that only the aged people are in stress and tension. There is so much stress about cracking competitive exams. Graduation as entrance exams, post-graduation as entrance exams. There is so much competition. UPSC, MPSC, right? Some 10 to 12 lakh students appear for UPSC. And out of that, around something like 800 or something are selected for different services. Out of that, only 100 are selected for IAS. Where is the ratio of 100 IAS officers to 12 lakh? And still, I know so many people who are trying for IAS, UPSC and all. I'm just imagining what stress must be there. So there is so much stress from their own hearts that I want to achieve this success. There is so much stress from peers. If you don't follow the latest fashion, your friends don't talk to you. If you don't talk in a particular way in the college, then you're an outcast. You have to wear clothes in a certain way. You have to eat certain food only to be part of the college group. Parents are always asking, what about your results? What about this? What about that? So if we really get affected by all these situations in our life, it will be difficult. So we have to remember, Krishna is saying, to actually touch the Paramatma, one step behind this is to always be equipoised and to not get affected by things. Will keep changing. Now it's cold. What is the next season that will come? Summer season. After that? Yes. So in our life also, sometimes there will be rainy season. Sometimes there will be summer season. Sometimes there will be cold season. The second point which I thought I should mention is, to catch the rope of hope, you should also see it. You should be able to see it, then you can catch it. So one famous shloka, it will always come in any discussion about hope and struggles, is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. First canto, 8th chapter, shloka number 25. Here, Kunti, she has undergone challenges her whole life. I'll just quickly give. She was born of Shurasena Maharaj. Actually, she is the sister of Vasudev, right? Her father is Shurasen. But in childhood, Shurasen Maharaj gifted her to a friend called Kunti Bhoj. So Kunti Bhoj ko beti ko de diya. And that's why her name is Kunti. So she did not get the love of her parents. Then she got married to Pandu. And then Pandu got cursed. So Pandu left early. So she did not get the love of her husband. Then she is seeing right in front of her eyes, her kids, her small children are attempted to be killed every day. There is some conspiracy going on. Then she got a bahu, she got a daughter-in-law. And then right in front of everyone, all the elders are there, but she is attempted to be insulted. Right? Then the biggest tragedy of her life from her perspective is that she has one son. That son also she got before marriage. So before marriage, how to handle that situation, that's also a challenge. But she somehow managed it. And then at one point of time, she understood that the main person who's trying to kill Arjun, whose every breath is only with one intention, Arjun's death, is her own son. So what does Kunti do? As a typical mother, secretly, she goes to Karna and she says, see, you are my son only. And the situation was a very difficult situation. So I could never take care of you. But I'm requesting you as a mother, these 5 are your brothers. And you don't take part in the war. And if you just move out of the war, and if Yudhishthir wins, I will tell Yudhishthir that even if you won, because you are the eldest son, you will become the king. Can you imagine? She is making a big claim. She has not discussed this. But she wants the brothers to not fight with each other, and she does not want the brothers to kill each other. She is saying, if Yudhishthir wins, you will be the king. You just move out of the war. Bade bhai ko raja banayenge. What is Karna's answer? Karna's answer is, see, before the war, you have 5 sons. Everyone knows you have 5 sons, is it not? After the war also, you will have 5 sons. You know what he says? What does it mean? It means, no way I am going back. Now the world knows there are 5 sons, the 5 Pandavas, right? After the war also, there will be 5 sons. Either me or Arjun. I will not leave him. This is that revenge mood. This is that heavy poison. That when a mother is requesting a son, can a son give this kind of an answer to the mother? मैं तो छोड़ूंगा नहीं, मार के रहूंगा मैं. But how come in today's world we glorify this person? Because we have not read sufficiently about his words and we have not read sufficiently about his character. Which son can give this answer to the mother that नहीं अभी 5 है, युद्ध के बाद में भी 5 रहेंगे, लेकिन मैं अर्जुन को तो मारने वाला हूँ करके. So think about Kunti's side. Father's love missing, husband's love missing, children are attempted to be killed, got 1 son before marriage, daughter-in-law really insulted, about to be burnt alive in Lakshagriha. And after all that, finally she finds out, this is my son, that 5th son. And she goes to him and says, chhod do. And he gives this kind of a reply to the mother. And in front of her eyes, she has to see Karna getting killed by Arjun only. But mind you, Arjun was not told this. Only Karna was told this. Arjun was not told this. When he killed Karna, he did not know this. After the war, it is revealed. So what is her emotional exposure throughout her life, right from her early days to the last days? But after the Mahabharata war, when Yudhishthir Maharaj is put on the throne, and Krishna is saying, Dharma Sansthapanarthaya, ho gaya abhi. Now I am leaving for Dwarka. Then one of the prayer that she offers is Vipadaha. What is Vipada? Vipada means difficulty, challenge, crisis. So she says, Vipadaha santutaha shashvat. Tatra tatra jagat guru. She is requesting Krishna and she calls Krishna by a typical word. She is calling Jagat Guru. What is a guru? Guru means who teaches. So Jagat Guru means he is teaching the whole world. She could have used the word Keshav, Madhav. In another shloka, in the same set of prayers, she uses the word Madhupati. But here she uses the word Jagat Guru. She says, oh my dear Krishna, please allow all the calamities that have happened in my life to happen again and again. Why? Because she says, Bhavato, whenever these calamities happened, you came. Bhavato darshanam yat syad apunar bhava darshanam. Whenever the calamities came, one thing happened, that you also came. And because you came, you are always our savior. So I am ready to pay the price of going through a calamity if you are the one who will again and again enter my life. I'll give you one example to understand this. It's very difficult to really understand what she is saying, but I'll help you with a concept. An orphan girl, she did not have mother and father. She was living her life, she never experienced the love of parents. One day she landed in an accident and she got hurt badly, knee fracture, hip bone fracture, serious accident. And she got admitted in a hospital. In that hospital, there was a motherly nurse. That motherly nurse, nurses are very kind-hearted. Their whole job is to, take care of the patients. So this motherly nurse, she took care of this patient, this orphan girl who had never experienced the love of a mother. And 2-3 months it took for all the fracture and all to get worked out properly. During those 2-3 months, this nurse, she took care, gave her food, kind of sponge bath and all that, right? So she took exceptionally good care of this child. This child forgot all the pain of hip bone fracture and knee fracture and all that, but she is just looking at this motherly figure every day coming in the morning and said, "Dawai li tumne? Pani piya tumne? Thoda, can I help you with something?" So after 2-3 months, when she was about to be released, she was really very happy that she got well. But inside her heart, she is pained कि अभी ये motherly feelings जो मैंने कभी अनुभव नहीं किया था, वो मेरा चला गया. You know what she did? Every 2 months, she would land in an accident. Purposefully, she would slip on the staircase. Purposefully, she will fall down from her scooter or something. Purposefully, this fracture, that fracture, this fracture, whatever. But what was the whole point? The whole point was to get admitted in the hospital. Why was it important to get admitted in the hospital and get fractures and wounds? To experience the love of that motherly nurse. So this is an example for you and me to understand what is Kunti Devi saying. So Kunti Devi is saying, whenever there was pain in my life, I experienced motherly love from Krishna, fatherly love from Krishna, caring from Krishna. For me, for my sons, for my daughter-in-law, when Durvasa Rishi came, he was about to curse. Big time. And Krishna came and just took a little bit of that shak sabji, and he said, "Ho gaya." And Durvasa Rishi, he ran away from the river only. He did not come here. So Krishna has saved that family so many times. And that's why when she is saying that please, please, please let all those calamities come, you have to understand, she's not crazy. Some of us can ask, do you know what you're asking? If some of us have, some experience of pain, then we'll say, Mataji, theek hai na? Mataji, is she okay if she's asking for pain? Just to destroy our doubts that she is not really sane. The previous verse, you know what it is? She outlines what difficulties came in her life. So this previous verse is, Vishan Mahagne Purushada Darshanat Asat Sabhayam Vanavasa Krichratat. She's outlining. She says, Vishan. So, Bhima was fed poison. Mahagni, they were burnt alive. Purushada is somebody who eats humans, Bakasur. Asat Sabhaya means when Draupadi was insulted. Vanavasa Krichrata. And very difficult Vanavas. Somebody who stayed in a palace is in the Vanavas. And says, Mridhe aneka rathastrato. And in the war, Kurukshetra, Mridhe means again and again, so many people shot arrows. And then she says, Drauni astra asma hare bhi rakshita. So war mein jo hua, wo to hua hi. So many people attacked us and the Pandavas. Just now, after the war also, Drauni means Ashwathama. He shot Brahmastra at Parikshit. But kahan se shuru hua attack? वो दादी माँ से शुरू हुआ, right? दादी माँ के बेटे को, मतलब पांडवस, उसका बेटा अभिमन्यु, and Abhimanyu seed in embryo is in the womb. That family is attacked 4 generations. For 4 generations, from grandmother to great-grandson, there is constantly attacks going on. This lady understands what is crisis. This lady understands what is danger. If we may not understand what is danger and we may not understand crisis. So, in 1.8.24, she has outlined all these crises. ये सब मेरे साथ हुआ है. And then she says, just to destroy our doubts, that Mataji भूल गई क्या हुआ? बुढ़ापे में याद नहीं रहता है ना? No, she said, I know, I remember everything, but I remember that you are always there to care for us, to help us, and that motherly and fatherly love that you are always ready to give to your devotees, I don't want to miss that. Let all the calamities come again and again. It's very rare. In the Gita, we read how in the first chapter end, Arjun could not handle the Gandiva bow and he kept the bow down. Right? So that bow, keeping down the bow, in our life also, we may not have a bow, but we have our own determination, we have taken some decision to do something. So when we give up our decision, when we give up our determination, it's nahi hoga mere se. It's similar to putting down the bow. And Krishna did not allow that bow to remain down. He spoke the Gita, right? There is another person who's also a very nice person and who also had to keep the bow down. Anybody knows? Another person who had to keep his bow down. So what happened is, Krishna came as Shanti Dut. Just a few days before the war, Krishna came as Shanti Dut, but it was not accepted. Instead, they tried to capture Krishna only. So when they tried to capture Krishna, especially when he came as Shanti Dut, Vidur, he could not handle it. So after Krishna returned, after his failed attempt to become a Shanti Dut, Vidur goes to Dhritarashtra and says, see, I have been telling you since childhood days that this Duryodhan is going to destroy the whole army. Sometimes in a tree, inside there is fire. And you don't see that fire, but it is burning the whole tree from inside. So he says, this Duryodhan is going to destroy your whole family tree. Say no to him, but you didn't listen. Do you know what he did? In front of you, he tried to capture a Shanti Dut. Now, a Shanti Dut from the opposite side is not supposed to be touched and is not supposed to be attacked. That same logic was given by Vibhishan in Ramayana. In Ramayana also, our Hanumanji, he came with a Dut. He came in a Dut form. He carried a message. And when Ravan caught him, Ravan said, kill him. That time also Vibhishan gave the same logic. He said, he is a Dut. He is not come on an army. He has no arms. कुछ हथियार लेके नहीं आया है वो. जो हथियार लेके नहीं आया है उसको अटैक नहीं कर सकते आप. According to the rules of war, a Shanti Dut cannot be attacked. The same logic was given and the same thing happened, that Ravan did not listen to him and Ravan attacked the Shanti Dut Hanumanji, and then what happened we know. Lanka was burnt. That same logic is given by Vidur. Do you remember the Ramayana? Do you remember when Shanti Dut was attacked, what happened? It's wrong. So don't attack Krishna. But your son is such a foolish person. He did not listen to me. In front of everyone, he caught hold of Krishna. And what happened? Krishna showed the Virat Roop. And Krishna showed Virat Roop, that whole assembly got disturbed. Now I'm telling you, हो गया अभी कल की बात है ये, कृष्ण को पकड़ने की बात की. Today I'm telling you, please reject him and stop this war immediately because he has lost it. This conversation was heard by Duryodhan. It was a secret conversation, but Duryodhan also heard it, and Duryodhan came there and said, he is the son of a mistress. He is talking about his father's brother. You are not supposed to take the name of your father's brother, right? In Hindi, what do you say? Tauji, Bade Papa, like that, right? Chote Papa. But he is calling his uncle, his father's brother, as the son of a mistress. He basically is insulting him. And then he's saying, he belongs to our own family, but he is always conspiring against us. He is always giving some advice to us that is not good for us. Snatch away all his property, take away all his belongings, and leave him alive only with his breath. इसकी केवल सांस छोड़ देना, बाकी सब छीन लो इससे. In front of Dhritarashtra. Even that time Dhritarashtra should have said something. Don't talk to your uncle like this. What to speak of? He is the minister. He is the guru. He is the advisor of the king. So even on a personal level he should not speak like that, and even on an official level he should not speak like that. But he speaks like that and Dhritarashtra is quiet. So there it is mentioned, Vidur, he saw that I tried my best, Krishna tried his best, now they are hell bent on going to hell. So what can I do? So it is mentioned there, Vidur kept his bow on the door of the palace because he said, snatch away all his belongings. Only the clothes that Vidur was wearing, Vidur took it away and Vidur went on a pilgrimage. Vidur said, Jo hoga bhi hoga, bhi kya karu main karke. So why am I mentioning this? Arjun, when he kept his bow down, the situation went in such a way that he had to keep his bow down, right? But it was his own decision. In Vidur's case, it was not Vidur's decision, it was forced on him. His whole life he has been a well-wisher of Duryodhan. His whole life he has been a well-wisher of Dhritarashtra. But just see how the situation happened. He also had to keep his bow down. But in such a situation, when your whole life you have advised somebody for his benefit, and that person calls you the son of a mistress and tells you snatch away everything and leave him only with his breath, how will you feel? But you know what Vidur felt? Vidur said, my whole life I have spent in politics, trying to advise the king and all that. Actually, I never visited any holy place. I never went on any yatra. I was busy in my seva all the time. This is the time to, the Lord is telling me, enough of your seva. Please go to some yatra. Please go to some holy place and purify yourself. So Vidur is saying, so many years of association of the Kauravas and their plot making and their politics and trying to, in a wrong way, hurt others and kill others and all that, I have been contaminated by this association. All these dirty things I have heard so many times, all these dirty things I have seen so many times, my existence is contaminated. I think I should purify my existence with this positive attitude. Somebody who has been insulted by calling him a very dirty word and all his property has been taken away, but Krishna helped Vidur from within. The same Krishna who helped Arjun outside when Arjun kept his bow down, that same Krishna in the heart guided Vidur when he also kept his bow down, and he said, don't take this as an insult, take this as an opportunity to go to all the holy places, chant more, read more, hear more, and purify yourself. So Krishna is so amazing. If you have the right mood of serving him, whether he is physically present next to you, as in the case of Arjun, or he is not physically present in the case of Vidura, but both gave similar responses. It's very interesting. So if we have this kind of an attitude that seeing the rope of hope, actually in that shloka 1.8.25 where Kunti Devi is saying that let all the calamities come in my life again and again, one of our acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he gives a very nice analogy. He says, she is saying that because sometimes the intoxication of comfort, when life is too comfortable, the intoxication of comfort does not allow us to see properly. An intoxicated person, can he see properly? He cannot see properly. So Kunti Devi is saying the intoxication of comfort sometimes does not allow a person to see properly. Please put the ointment of dangers in my eyes so that I can see you properly. Yes? You know, in English, there is a saying, don't become a prisoner of your success. Sometimes people who are too successful, they get married to their strategies. In English, there is another saying, what brought you here will not take you there. Heard this? You know, in a simple way, somebody who studied graduation. So in graduation, there is a way in which you study the subjects and the approach of study is something. And then you get into post-graduation. If you adopt the same strategy for studying, which you applied in graduation, in post-graduation, it won't work. Because post-graduation is deeper research kind of a responsibility. So what brought you here will not take you there. The strategy, the way, the approach that worked till now, don't think that this strategy is my strategy and now it will give me success my whole life. That's what I call as becoming the prisoner of your success. You think this is the only way I will get success, but as time changes, as responsibilities change, as your position changes, your approach to life also needs to change. So Kunti Devi, why is she inviting the difficulties in her life? She is saying because sometimes comfort produces intoxication. You become a prisoner of your own success. You don't want to change. And what happens to a person who does not change? Life forces you to change, and that hurts a lot. So Kunti Devi is saying, apunar bhavato janma, punarjanma. When I get your darshan, then I no longer have to take darshan in this cycle of birth, old age, disease and death. Please give me all the calamities. So the whole point is about having a clear vision that actually the rope of hope is always there, but we are not able to see the rope of hope. One young girl, she came home and she told her mother, you know what, at college today, my teacher, my professor became unnecessarily angry on me and insulted me in front of the whole class. Then when I came out, my scooter, it was stolen. The scooter was not there. Then I got into a bus. When I got into the bus, then that bus conductor, he argued me with for some small change. I did not have change. So there was big argument. So she was saying so much difficulties happened in my life from morning. My teacher insulted me, my scooter got stolen, that bus driver is insulting me and all that. So she was really, really frustrated. So she came home and told, mother, you know, can you make that cake for me? I love your cake. So she said, yes, of course, sit here. She brought out some dough. Dough means atta. She brought some atta in front of the child, the daughter, and said, take this. So this atta, what will I do? Okay, okay. Atta leke ja. She brought some sugar and said, take this sugar. So much sugar, what will I do? Said, okay, okay, okay. Then she brought some essence. Take this. What will I do with the essence? She did not get it. She's already frustrated. So she brought all the ingredients of the cake one by one. And she didn't understand. So she said, no, no, no. So then she thought, why are you bringing all these ingredients to me? Sugar alag se, atta alag se, and that essence and all that. Then she said, see, all these put together and I mix it properly. And then I put it in the oven. And the oven, I put the temperature to something like 250 degrees or something, hot. Then you will get your beautiful cake. Then you will get your sweet cake. Then she said, all the other difficulties that you are crying about since morning, actually it is God trying to make a sweet cake for you. But individually it does not make sense. Individually all those ingredients. So what the teacher did with you is trying to make you humble. What the thief did with your scooter is trying to teach you, you should lock your scooter. What the bus conductor is trying to teach you is don't go to a bus with a 500 rupees note, right? So if you look at life, all the wrong things that happen, are they not lessons to learn how, we are all tiny beings, right? We make mistakes. Instead of learning from those situations, what we do is we start looking at every situation saying, why is this wrong? Actually, Jagat Guru, Krishna, is trying to teach us through different incidents that happen. And when these different ingredients come together and there is heat, then there is a nice beautiful cake. In our life also, when all these incidents happen and we are not able to handle it, there will be some heat, there will be some difficulties that happen. Then we will get the sweet cake of success in our life. One person, he was a sailor, and one storm finished his ship. Somehow or the other, he reached an island. After 1 month of roaming around on that island, he found out there is no other human being on that island. He's all alone on the island. And he started thinking, how am I going to survive? But he found out some fruit trees and he started eating fruits. Somehow he survived. 6 months, 8 months later, he found out it does not look like any ship is going to come here. Alone island somewhere in the ocean. So he said, chalo, jeena yahan. Let me make a hut here. So somehow or the other, some dried wood, some dried trees, some coconut branches dried. Kaise to karke, he's not a carpenter also. He's a sailor. Somehow or other, he made a hut and he started living there. A few days later, he went on a journey to take some fruits and all, and he came back in the afternoon. Something had happened. Maybe the heat was too much, maybe the sunlight was too much, something happened. That hut caught fire. So he's thinking, I'm already away from my family. Somehow or the other I survived. I'm not eating rice, dal, I'm eating fruits. I'm all alone here. And somehow, after 6 months of convincing myself, I made this hut. How can you do this? You destroyed my hut. एक ही आसरा था मेरा, वो भी जला दिया आपने. So he got really, really put off by the situation and he started crying. By evening time, he heard a familiar horn. Like that. So it was a ship. And he said, how come? So he said, no, we saw your smoke signal. That hut that was burning, it sent a smoke signal. So everything went wrong in his life, and the final wrong was the smoke signal to save him. Many times what happens is we cannot see the rope of hope that is there hanging, right? So every time you see some good thing, some nice perspective coming in your life, like Vidur saw it from another perspective. You should understand, if the rope of hope is hanging, will it hang from the sky, or there is somebody who is hanging it down for you? Something that is hanging, there is something there like catching hold of it. So anytime you get some hope in your life when things go wrong, you should remember there is a person up there who is throwing the rope at you. So first thing is we need to have stability in our life. We discussed that. And second thing is to have the eyes to see the person who's throwing the rope at us. Usually we don't have, gonna have the stability, so we don't catch the hold of the rope, and we don't even see the rope, and we can't even see the person who's throwing the rope at us. What is the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee? What is the difference between a believer in God and a non-believer in God? It is not the nature of incidents that will happen in his life. It is not that a non-devotee gets challenges in his life or a devotee gets challenges in his life. Nothing like that. The events that happen in both of their lives is the same. But the difference is in the response. Usually, when things go wrong in a non-devotee's life, usually, it will lead to frustration. Still things are going wrong, it will lead to depression. After depression, usually it will lead to addiction. And after addiction, it will lead to self-destruction, is it not? As things go down, frustration, then depression, then addiction, and then self-destruction. Usually this is what happens. In a devotee's life, when such things happen, you know what happens? He looks at the hand that is throwing the rope of hope down. There is first is submission. He wants to offer himself. What is your plan for me? Jagat Guru, you are trying to teach me something through this. So what is your plan? So first is submission. But it's not easy to submit. Then he increases it to determination. And with submission and determination, when you receive mercy, then there is elevation. And when you actually get elevated, you get affection of Krishna. So in this way, it's only a question of what response we give. It is not a question of what happens in our life. It is usually one and the same. Common things will happen. So in the darkness of uncertainties in life, already there are a lot of uncertainties. In the darkness of uncertainties in life, when sometimes there is lightning, fear. In the darkness of uncertainties in life, when there is fear, lightning in our life, always remember, after the lightning comes the rains of mercy. One of the names of Krishna is Ghana Shama. Ghana means cloud. So Krishna is not just having the complexion of a cloud. His nature is also like that of a cloud. There is a song, this is the song sung by Lord Shiva. I think this is the 4th canto, 26th or 27th chapter. So where Lord Shiva is glorifying Lord Krishna, and there one shloka is there, Snigdha Pravrat Ghanashamam Sarva Saundarya Sangraham. Lord Shiva is glorifying Snigdha, very malleable, Pravrat, Ghanashamam. Krishna is Ghanasham. And then say Sarva Saundarya Sangraham. Jitne bhi saundarya hai, uska sangrah hai wo. Compilation of all the saundarya. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, what does it mean that Krishna is Sarva Saundarya Sangraham? He's already beautiful, but why is he Sarva Saundarya? He said, actually the greatest beauty of a person is the compassionate nature of a person. The most compassionate person ever possible is Lord Krishna. Who else can give the position of a mother in the spiritual world to somebody who came to kill him? Putana came to kill Krishna. Krishna just took that little bit of matrutva for a split second that was there, and he totally neglected the poisonous mentality of trying to kill him. So Lord Shiva is saying Sarva Saundarya Sangraham. And what is that Sarva Saundarya? It is the compassionate nature. So in the uncertainties, in the darkness of life, when there is fear in the form of lightning, something happens and we get shaken up. by lightning. Remember, after lightning there will be rains of mercy from Ghanasham. His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, he understood the struggles of devotees in sadhana. And all of us who are trying to chant every day, all of us who are trying to follow the regulative principles every day, it's a challenge. So, Srila Prabhupada one time made a very hope-giving statement. He said, "It is better to struggle in our chanting than to struggle in the 84 lakh species of life." His Holiness Satswarup Maharaj, in one of his articles, he mentions, spiritual life may be difficult, but material life is impossible. So yes, it's not very easy, but if we keep focusing on the rope of hope, the first thing was we should become stable, and second is to see the hand that is throwing, and then, seeing the beautiful hand, seeing the beautiful face of Krishna, difficulties don't hurt us more. In the last Bhagavatam class that His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj gave, he spoke a very nice concept. He was saying, in the Gita, 11th chapter, Krishna says, Kalosmi. Krishna says, I am time. But in 11th chapter of the Gita, when Krishna is saying, I am time, what is the mood that Krishna is giving? He's saying, basically, I have come here to destroy. Because the next word is, Lokakshaya Krita Pravruddha. I have come here to destroy the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So Maharaj was saying, one way to look at this statement, time I am, is that, बोलते हैं ना, कोई मरने आया तो बोलते हैं इसका काल आ गया. He is about to die. So usko kaal. So kaal is synonymous with death. So 11th chapter of the Gita, Krishna is saying Kalosmi. It basically is saying that I am death. Maharaj said another way to look at this statement, that time I am, is every moment that is happening in our life is time. It is Krishna. So it means every moment we should be conscious that this time is Krishna. 8:35 is Krishna. How am I utilizing 8:35 p.m. on 31st of December in a way that it pleases Krishna, or in a way that I advance towards Krishna, in a way that my consciousness of Krishna increases? So Kalosmi does not always have to create fear. Kalosmi also can create hope in us that Krishna is time. And Krishna is reminding me with that watch how time is going ahead. And one moment wasted without serving Krishna, without remembering Krishna, without glorifying Krishna, without chanting His names, without hearing His glories, is not a good utilization of time. So 31st of December 2024, today is the day, it's never going to come again. But all of you are so intelligent, you are utilizing time I am. Krishna is saying I am time. So 31st of December 2024, you are utilizing it in the temple of Radha Gopinath, trying to take his darshan, trying to hear about his message, and trying to understand how to see the rope of hope that is always dangling from that bluish hand. His Holiness Kadamba Kanand Swami Maharaj, one of the sannyasis, he left us this year. But one time, in one program, some devotees asked Maharaj, Maharaj, you have dedicated your life, you are a sannyasi, so many years you are preaching, in difficult situations you have served Krishna. Have you ever seen the face of Krishna? Has Krishna ever given his darshan to you? And Kadamba Kanand Maharaj spoke a very nice line. He said, actually, to tell you frankly, I have never seen the face of Krishna in my life, but I have always seen the hand of Krishna in my life. So many times in my life, when I was in a difficulty, difficult situation, and I thought this is unsolvable. I cannot do it with my own hands. I cannot do it with my own intelligence. I saw a bluish colored hand come there and solve the situation and made it easy. Only thing was, he was expecting me to always remember him. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madyaji mam namaskuru. Right? So Krishna again and again in the Gita is saying, always remember me. Always chant my names. Always offer namaskars to me. When the darshan opens, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. In this way, you'll always see that blue hand, and you'll always see the rope of hope, and you'll always be happy. And Krishna is very nice. Actually, the most hopeful person is Krishna also. Like the most beautiful person is Krishna. For millions of lifetimes in different species of life, we never turned towards him. He never lost his hope in us. Right? So, yada yada hi dharmas, I'll come again and again. So the most hopeful person is Krishna, and he has so much hope from us. Badlega ye. He'll change. He'll change. So, last request from my side is on 31st of December. Even if we feel, Prabhuji, I am not qualified, I cannot be stable, I will be emotional, and I will not be able to see that blue hand. At least remember this, he is not giving up his hope. As Matsya, Kurma, Narasimha, Vamana, he's coming again and again, बोले इनको बदलना है, इसको भक्ति देनी है. And finally, as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, finally he said, enough of being the controller, enough of being the enjoyer, now I'll become a devotee. Apani Achari Prabhu Jivera Shikhay. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came just to teach you and me. Can you imagine the concern and the hope that Krishna has for you and me? So, if nothing else works, always remember Krishna has so much hope for me. Can I reciprocate with that hope just a little bit? And I will never ever give up chanting of the holy names, no matter what. तुटो है मस्तक फुटो है शरीर नामाचा गजर सोडू नये खंड खंड होय देह जाय यदि प्राण तबु तो न छाड़िबो वदने हरिनाम. Haridas Thakur is saying, you cut my body into pieces. From each piece of flesh, by cutting my body, the holy names will come. So by looking at Krishna's sweet form, he's coming here as a deity, he's coming here as the holy name, he's coming as Katha, he's coming in the form of pure devotees in our life, he's coming as the Gita and the Bhagavatam in this month of December. So many ways Krishna is trying to reach out to us. Those on the streets, they get Harinam. Those who are intelligent people, they get books. Those who are really intelligent people, they come to the temple for prayer and they get prasad. Also, in addition to the books and in addition to everything. So Krishna is always so hopeful. Let us reciprocate with that hope and always have that hope and never ever give up his service and service to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to speak a few thoughts on the rope of hope. Really grateful to all of you for your patient listening. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So my best wishes to all of you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, His Grace Nand Dulal Prabhu, for enlightening on such a wonderful topic, hope for a hope in a year coming ahead. In a situations, many times we may feel we are very helpless, but by the Nand Dulal Prabhu's lecture, we are very sure we may be helpless, but we are not hopeless because Krishna is there. Thank you very much, Nand Dulal Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So let's thank Nand Dulal Prabhu by loudly chanting 3 times. Hari Bol! And now IYS devotees are presenting a wonderful drama. So let's see. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Nand Dulal Prabhu, for this amazing lecture where you taught us the sweet cake of success. Prabhuji beautifully quoted the verse, Vipada Shantuta Shashvat Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru Bhavato Darshanam Yasyad Apunar Bhava Darshanam. And what a place to be at a New Year's evening with Shri Shri Radha Gopinath. Thank you everyone for joining us. पिछले साल की बात है, I was with a friend. It was New Year's Eve, and he had come to the temple. तो मंदिर से exit होने के बाद he met another friend of his. बोला, तू मंदिर में क्या कर रहे? You were invited to this party, right? This party. Now he had no backup. He had no cover. अब वो दोस्त को कैसे बोले, वो मंदिर आया था न्यू ईयर्स ईव पे, तो ही सेड यार मैं गलती से पहुंच गया यार, पता नहीं मैं गलती से पहुंच गया, गलती से मिस्टेक हो गया, आई लैंडेड अप इन अ टेम्पल. One of the worst excuses you can give, for being in the temple on a New Year's Eve. तो ऐसी जब एक गलती से मिस्टेक हो जाती है, इसका परिणाम क्या होता है? This is in the form of a short skit in front of you. We've been beautifully enlightened by Prabhuji. Now, time for some little entertainment. Are you all ready? Hari Bol. Hari Bol. So we've got a beautiful Suhridam box for you. And to discuss more about this, we called 6 distinguished guests. But जब गलती से मिस्टेक हो जाती है, तब इसका क्या परिणाम होता है and what happens? That's for you to witness. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. You came with us. You got this beautiful box with us. न जाने न्यू ईयर के बहकावे में लोग क्या क्या नहीं करते. दारू, नशा, पार्टी, कॉलेज के बच्चे, कॉर्पोरेट्स, किसी को नहीं छोड़ा ये न्यू ईयर्स ईव ने.
Absolutely agree with you. And I'm seeing on this New Year Eve, so many young faces here sitting. It's really surprising. And thank you for inviting me here. I'm very grateful. I'd like to be participating and hopefully my presence can add to this festival here.
My
Thank
pleasure,
you.
Prabhu.
है
वो हेलो.
अरे बाबा,
आपको किसने बुलाया यहाँ पे?
अरे तूने बुलाया मेरे को, मला ओळखलं नाही काय?
मैंने?
अरे मैं बाबूराव गणपतराव आपटे, पब्लिक जानता मेरे को.
बाबूराव गणपतराव आपटे इधर?
मैं डिबेट करने को आया है.
डिबेट?
मेरे को तूने बुलाया.
मैंने नहीं बुलाया, मैंने आपको नहीं बुलाया यहाँ पे.
मेरे को नहीं बुलाया? ए राजो, ए राजो, अरे क्या बोल रहे हैं, मेरे को नहीं बुलाया?
अरे क्या आपने तो फोन लगाया था स्टार गराज में, आपने बोला था चर्चा पे आना है.
स्टार फिशरीज में फोन लगा, स्टार गराज. ओ कृष्णा,
गलत लगाया, पैसा मिलेगा ना.
ये कबाड़ी वाला कहाँ डिबेट करेगा यार?
कबाड़ी वाला किसको बोलते हैं?
कपाट.
कबाड़ी वाला किसको बोला?
कपाट.
ए राजू, आए
बाबू भी आराम से, आराम से बाबू भी, आराम से बाबू भी, आराम से.
वो मदर इंडिया ने कैसा अपने बेटे को गोली मारा था, वैसा मैं फादर इंडिया बन के तेरे को गोली से उड़ा देगा. अरे
आराम से बाबू भी, ऐसे गुस्सा नहीं बाबू भी, आराम से.
अभी हम हमारे दूसरे गेस्ट श्री संजय खासीवाल जी को यहाँ बुलाते हैं. संजय जी.
मेरा 2 गुड मार ले तो खांसी रुक जाएगा.
देखिए मैं बता रहा हूँ, ये जो सब है ना, ये फ्रॉड है. मैं बता रहा हूँ, ये सब फ्रॉड है. मैं कब से बता रहा हूँ ये सब फ्रॉड है. मैं इनको बोल रहा हूँ धनपाल बिल लाइए, ये गीता छोड़िए, धनपाल बिल लाइए. मैं बता रहा हूँ बिल लाइए.
अरे बाबा, इतना चांगला आदमी है, सबके खाने के पहले ही बिल भरने का बोल रहा है. तो मैं तो तेरे को रावण समझता था, तू तो राम निकला.
अरे मैं अलग बिल की बात कर रहा हूँ भाई.
अरे बाबू भैया, वो खाने के बिल की बात नहीं कर रहा, राजनीतिक बिल की बात कर रहा है वो. राजनीतिक बिल. अपना काम नहीं इधर.
आप बैठिए, आप यहाँ बैठिए. सालवी?
मैं उनका पेशेंट
उनका पेशेंट आ गए? डॉक्टर को बुलाते, पेशेंट आ गए?
डॉक्टर मेरे रूम पे आया था, फोन भूल गया था, तो आपका फोन आया तो मैंने सोचा चलो चलते।
अच्छा अच्छा, बैठिए बैठिए बैठिए, आप भी बैठिए, आप भी बैठ, नहीं नहीं नहीं, अरे बैठिए बैठिए, कोई बात नहीं कोई बात नहीं।
मेरा नाम छगन, मैं रहता हूँ मिठाई बनाने में मगन। ये क्या है? अरे इतना इतना स्वीट, इससे तो मेरे पेट को हवा भी नहीं लगेगा। हाँ?
आप कौन?
मैं छगन, आपने संजू कपूर को बताया था, उनका मैं हलवाई हूँ।
वो शेफ को बुलाया था, हलवाई आ गए।
अरे सब होता है भाई।
नहीं, अभी आप भी बैठिए बैठिए बैठिए।
अरे आप लोग ना ये सब के चक्कर में मत पड़ो, मेरे पास ना एक मस्त स्कीम है। 21 दिन में पैसा डबल।
अरे बाबू,
42 में 4 गुना,
8 गुना, 32 गुना, पैसा ही पैसा।
ये फ्रॉड कर रहे हैं, मैं बता रहा हूँ। 21 दिन में पैसा डबल बोल रहे हैं।
चिल्ला चिल्ला के सबको स्कीम बता दे यहाँ पे।
स्कीम बता दे।
अरे क्या कर रहे हैं आप? अरे क्या कर रहे हैं बाबूराव?
राजू खोपड़ी तोड़ उसका,
बाबू भैया को मारा, बाबू भैया।
खोपड़ी तोड़ उसका।
अरे उसको कोई देखो यार, इसको कोई देखो।
ये कौन है रे बाबा? तेरे को भी चाहिए क्या 2 घूंट?
ये मैं एंजाइटी की पिल्स खा रहा हूँ, डिप्रेस्ड हूँ मैं, स्ट्रेस है मेरे को बहुत ज्यादा, साल भर से काम कर रहा हूँ मैं, मुझे सैलरी नहीं दिया है इन लोगों ने, इंस्टाग्राम पे 250 फॉलोअर है मेरे सिर्फ, पता है क्या? कितना स्ट्रेस आता है माथे पे, पता है क्या? मेरे को बेवड़ा बोलता है तू, घूंट पिलाएगा?
ये क्या बोल रहा है? ये डेस्पिरेशन क्या होता है?
डिप्रेशन बाबू भैया, डिप्रेशन, बहुत परेशानी में है वो। सिर पे बहुत वजन आ गया उसके।
तो क्या बताऊं मैं, माँ घर पे पूछती है मेरे से, बेटा बेटा इंस्टाग्राम पे क्या पड़ेगी, नहीं क्या लाइक्स? माँ को कौन समझाएगा इंस्टाग्राम कितना मेहनत कर।
क्या बता रहा हूँ? ये फ्रॉड नहीं है, ये सच्चाई है इस देश की। यहाँ पे हर दूसरा आदमी डिप्रेस्ड है। जी हाँ, इनकी बात छोड़ो, मैं खुद पिछले 3 साल से डिप्रेस्ड हूँ। मैं खुद गोलियां खा खा के जी रहा हूँ।
मेरा भी यही हाल है। रोज के 300 किलो स्वीट बनाता हूँ, लेकिन 3 दाना भी नहीं खाना पाता हूँ। एसिडिटी है भैया।
और अपना तो क्या ही बाबू भैया, क्या क्या चला गया, पूरा प्रॉपर्टी गया, पैसा गया, सब खत्म हो गया बाबू भैया। मेरे को लग रहा है मैं भी डिप्रेशन में हूँ।
ये डेस्पिरेशन बहुत गंदा बीमारी रे बाबा।
डिप्रेशन बाबू भैया, डिप्रेशन।
मेरे बाप का भी पूरा घरा चला गया, पूरा प्रॉपर्टी चला गया, खुद मेरा बाप चला गया।
अरे 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 चुप रहो तुम लोग। तुम लोग का ये मसले का हल निकालने हमने इन सज्जन को बुलाया है यहाँ पे। आप बताइए इनको इसके बारे में प्लीज, नहीं तो ये अपने ही रोना रोते जाएंगे।
सच कह रहे ये सब। डिस्प्रेशन, डिप्रेशन। अर्जुन भी डिप्रेशन में थे। आप सबने गीता पढ़ा है? कितने ने गीता पढ़ा है? हाँ तो अच्छा, सब मंदिर में आए। अर्जुन भी डिप्रेशन में थे। गीता के पहले अध्याय में अर्जुन इतना डिप्रेशन में चले गए, जिन्होंने आज तक कभी अपना गांडीव को छोड़ा नहीं, वे कहे कि कृष्णा आई शैल नॉट फाइट। उनका हाथ हिलने लगा, शरीर कांपने लगा। ऐसे कभी ऐसे कुछ होता है ना डिप्रेशन में। और फिर जैसे हमारे, क्या नाम आपका? सालवी जी ने कहा कि वे अलग अलग प्रकार के ड्रग्स लेते हैं डिप्रेशन को दूर करने के लिए। मेरे मित्रों, हमारे युवाओं का, ना केवल युवाओं का बल्कि कई लोगों का, बूढ़ों का, सबका, यहाँ तक कि बच्चों का यही हाल है। उनकी बैग की साइज उनके साइज से ज़्यादा होती है और घर वालों का इतना प्रेशर रहता है कि वे डिप्रेशन में चले जाते हैं। तो हमारी ये जो भगवत गीता है, आज जो मैं आपके लिए ये सुहृदम बॉक्स लेके आया था, जिसे मेरे मित्र ने आपसे कहा, ये जो न्यू ईयर गिफ्ट है ना, यही है हम सबको इस डिप्रेशन में से बाहर निकालने का एकमात्र उपाय, एकमात्र दवा है। कई सारे दवाई ऐसे हैं कि जो दवाइयों को साइज देख के डिप्रेशन में चला जाता है पेशेंट। तो ये जो भगवत गीता और श्रीमद् भागवतम का ये जो मंत्र है, जो तुकाराम महाराज ने कहा, गीता भागवत करिति श्रवण अखंड चिंतन विठो बाचे, नए साल की शुरुआत इसी से करो। तो आज आपके लिए ये विशेष सुहृदम बॉक्स है, जिसमें श्रीमद् भगवत गीता, मित्र बनाइए भगवत गीता को अपना सच्चा मित्र जीवन भर। महात्मा गांधी कहते थे, जब भी मेरे जीवन में मैं आशा को पूरी तरह से खो देता हूँ, गीता को पढ़ लेता हूँ, एक आशा की किरण दिखाई देती है। जैसे आज प्रभु जी ने कहा, द रोप ऑफ होप, यू विल फाइंड होप इन दिस बुक श्रीमद् भगवत गीता। प्लीज कैरी दिस, मेक इट अ प्रैक्टिस टू रीड। हर दिन एक श्लोक 5 मिनट। हम गीता बांटने जाते हैं, लोग बोलते भैया समय नहीं है, टाइम नहीं है, नो टाइम डिसीज। मैं कहता हूँ भैया 5 मिनट पढ़िए, एक लाइन पढ़िए भगवत गीता का, ये गीता आपका जीवन बदल देगा, सारे डिप्रेशन की पिल्स चली जाएगी। श्रीमद् भगवत गीता और उसके साथ साथ मेडिटेशन किट मैं आप सबके लिए लेके आया हूँ। इसमें 5 मिनट, छोटा मंत्र है, छोटे माला है, 108 वाली नहीं है, 27 वाली माला है। अगर समय नहीं है तो इतनी करो, एक मंत्र से शुरू करो, भगवान का नाम आपकी सारी चिंताएं दूर कर देगा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। उसी तरह से जो गीता, गंगा जल, गीता, गंगा और गोपीनाथ, इसका ये जो टूल किट है, दिस विल बी द बेस्ट गिफ्ट फॉर न्यू ईयर। आपके नए साल का सच्चा सूरत, सच्चा मित्र ये बनेगा। तो प्लीज टेक दिस and make your life blissful and happy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you to our VTA boys to put up a great show in a record time of only half an hour. How much time did you have to prepare? Half an hour? Or yeah, usse bhi kam? Half an hour. So please, a loud round of applause for them. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So now there will be darshan and there will be kirtan till 9:30. And this kit which we have shown here, Suradam box, is available downstairs. Please take for yourself. Gift this to yourself first and gift your friends and carry it to your homes. Hare Krishna.